Hello everyone, today I want to discuss a book by one of my favourite writers, the latest that I've read by her. This is Lauren Groff's Matrix. This is a very unusual subject matter told at an incredibly slow pace. If you like page turners, if you like drama, action, blood, guts and glory, this will be a challenge for you. This is a deliberately but beautifully and very cleverly told book about the life of one character, Marie. We are in 12th century England, and Marie is a young girl growing up in the court of Eleanor of Aquitaine. Now, Eleanor of Aquitaine, of course, is a real character, and the general thoughts are that Marie is based around a real-life character called Marie de France. However, there isn't much to know about Marie de France other than I think she was great at poetry and was considered a great poet at the time. And Lauren has taken the shell of a character and actually created a new character and a new plot around this. In her Marie, Lauren has given us a character where Marie is the bastard daughter of the king, of Eleanor of Aquitaine's husband. And Marie is brought into the court when her real mum dies. Her real mum, who had a sort of history as a almost Amazonian warrior and who lived in a community of women. And Eleanor of Aquitaine immediately becomes a sort of idol, a real life princess/goddess to Marie, who fantasizes and loves Eleanor of Aquitaine. However, Eleanor obviously sees her as a bit of a rival to her own kids, having this bastard daughter of her husband. So she arranges for Marie to be thrown out of the court and instead shoved off to a convent in the rural areas of England. Now, this convent is run aground, it's run adrift, it's broke, it's penniless, its nuns are depressed, varied, poor, without support, without structure. And this book follows Marie over the course of her life, her long life, as she turns this convent and its community around. And in so doing, she creates this world where it is run and populated almost solely by women, and it is gently an analysis of female power. Now, 12th century convent and nuns may not sound like your cup of tea, but this is brilliantly told. Now, there are some reviews that say, or some readers haven't enjoyed this book because it is so slow and it is without an obvious critical plot. So, for example, from the introduction, you'd think, oh, there must be a point where Eleanor and Marie clash, like the powerful queen and this emerging power, this abbess at the convent who suddenly grows. Marie grows this huge power base as she turns her convent around to an incredibly wealthy convent and local community. And you must think, oh, there's a great big clash coming. Lauren isn't that obvious. She is instead taking certain tentpole expectations, such as a clash between her and Eleanor, such as a clash between Marie and her nuns, but actually gently uses them but moves away from them, because what Lauren is actually analysing is life, and that life has these small battles, it has these hopes and expectations. Sometimes they fulfil and sometimes they become damp squibs. Instead, what Lauren is centred in is the community that Marie enters and how women work with each other and against each other, and how that may differ from male power structures. What is interesting in this book is that it isn't eulogizing a female utopia. This convent, this nunnery that Marie ends up running, is full of privilege, hierarchy, power structures re-implement themselves. There is always a sense of privilege and those who have not. There's always a sense of that utopia is still structured. So it's very interesting the extent to which Lauren is making a commentary about whether Marie is this fantastic new queen who is egalitarian and fair, or whether she is actually just a benevolent dictator who wields women to her own ambition and her own expectations, or the extent to which actually this is in fact a democracy and the nuns actually become more fulfilled and have more challenging lives and more interesting lives because of Marie's understanding. There are some very interesting aspects of this, particularly Marie's growth in her religious belief. She ends up seeing some visions of the Virgin Mary and how that impacts her own personal religious devotion, because she starts as someone without any religious beliefs in particular. So this is a very interesting, vivid, languid landscape of one woman in an era of English history which is almost never written about. 12th century England, I can't think of many things. Eleanor of Aquitaine comes in and out, almost becomes a minor character, though she is so strong at the beginning. But it's that vision, that sort of projection that Marie had of what she thought Eleanor would be, is a constant in her own personal growth. I really enjoyed Lauren Groff's The Matrix. I found, even though it was slow, I found it beautifully executed, and I found the prose beautiful. There's some wonderful scenes of how the forest, the clearing of the forest, the women working, building a dam, and I think they're wonderfully observed. There is, though, a sense of, if I hadn't told you that this was about a female utopia, would it have been picked up? Sometimes the themes in this book are they are so subtle. It is possible to read this book and go, I mean, I kind of liked it, but I'm not quite sure what the point of it was. But what Matrix is showing us is a world completely and utterly inhabited by women. And not to expect anything dramatic from that, but just observe the differences and this subtle power and dynamic issues that exist between them. I think it's beautifully done, and I found it fascinating. I, however, admit I'm a big Lauren Groff fan. But if this is something that sounds intriguing, then I really do encourage you to read it, because I enjoyed it very much. Lauren Groff's Matrix. And not a pill in sight. No red pill. No. Just 12th century England. Enjoy.